Good morning, everybody. How you doing, everybody? This is Dave, Big Dave on Dave TV, DCRTV.com, the September 26, 2012 edition of the most viewed show on the internet. Oh, not quite, but we're getting there. What's the big news today? The big news today, wow, this is going to shake up the Washington radio market. It's just going to shake it up. We hear that WNEW has now put its signal on 94.7 inside the Beltway. No, well, they have, but they haven't. It's on the HD2, the digital HD2 of 94.7. That's where the HFS 94.7 signal used to be. Now, you know, remember we told you a while back that, okay, 94.7's HD2 used to be HFS, which was programmed here in Washington, for Washington, on the station, on the HD2. It was a really cool mix of kind of avant-garde progressive rock out there, kind of like the original HFS was. Then last year, the signal moved up to Baltimore. Okay, and Baltimore put it on 97.5, which is a low-power station up in northwest Baltimore. They also relayed the signal on the HD2 of 106.5, Mix 106.5 CBS station, hot adult contemporary, and they also kept it on the HD2 of 94.7 here in the Washington area, since you can't really hear, it's hard to hear either of those Baltimore signals down here in Washington. Okay, so it was come and go. It would come and go. Sometimes it would be there, sometimes it wouldn't be there. So now we hear that that Baltimore version of HFS is now officially gone from 94.7 here in D.C., and they've put a relay of WNEW on it. Now, WNEW, as we've told you ad nauseum, is a signal based in Crofton, Maryland, technically Anne Arundel County. It doesn't have the greatest coverage in the western suburbs of D.C., but so now CBS puts it on 94.7's HD2. CBS also has, as for a while, has had 106.7 The Fan, WJFK Sports Talker on 94.7's HD3. Again, I don't think it's going to do anything. You know, very few people are really listening to HD radio. You've got it in some cars, but you know, you go into Best Buy and try to find an HD radio receiver, man, a portable. You're going to have a hard time finding it. Again, if CBS is serious about 94.7, excuse me, CBS is serious about WNEW on 99.1, they're going to put it on 94.7 because it's just a better signal. And they're spending all that money on WNEW with all that. You know, they're spending a ton of money on it with all the people working there. There's dozens of staff people doing that high-intensity all-news format, you know, and they need to put it on a better signal. And frankly, as some of the local radio gurus say, they need to do some improvements to the website, to the station sound, to other things. So there. So I get this from one of my radio gurus. Came in over the transom a little while ago, attached to a rock. Just between you and me. One of my radio gurus says he's not surprised to see that WHFS is gone from the DC radio dial for good. There was no one left in Lanham, where CBS is located here in Washington, who gave a damn about it. Steve Swenson, who is the head of the market, who basically is the mastermind behind WNEW, could care less. And Steve Davis, who's the program director over there at Fresh, which is on 94.7's main signal, apparently he hates HD, according to this source. Combine that with the fact that it had become Baltimore's HFS, and was no longer a Washington station, it went away. Putting WNEW-FM on 94.7's HD2 is a sad attempt to give WNEW a wider area of coverage. Sadly, it may end up that WNEW does go on IAD 94.7's main signal, but it won't happen quietly, as Steve Davis will go down fighting on that one. The Battle of the Steves. Steve Swenson, and in this quarter, Steve Swenson. In this quarter, Steve Davis. And the winner gets 94.7's main signal. Well, how would Fresh do on, what if they just flipped them? What if they put WNEW on 94.7 and Fresh FM on 99.1? Would that really hurt Fresh FM that much? I don't know. I've always said PGC should get moved to 99.1 because PGC would then extend PGC's coverage better into Baltimore. PGC is one of the top-rated DC stations in Baltimore. If you look at the radio ratings, it's often in the top 20 of the Baltimore market. If you gave them a better signal into Baltimore on 99.1, you could maybe do something really special with PGC. CBS in Baltimore doesn't have an urban station. The main urban station in Baltimore is ERQ, which is Radio 1. So that would make CBS a little more, it would be, CBS Washington would be stepping on CBS Baltimore's turf, but it would at least give CBS a little more of an urban presence in Baltimore, which couldn't be a bad thing for Baltimore. I mean, man, I don't know. It'd be interesting. Now we ought to get a battle between Dave Labrosi, who's head of CBS Baltimore, and Steve Swenson, who's head of CBS Washington. I know, it's weird. Maybe somewhere down the line, CBS needs to realign its corporate management and make one common management for both CBS DC and CBS Baltimore. That might be the way to go for the long run. I don't know. What do I know? Woohoo! Washington Post. Two interesting political stories today in the Washington Post, both dealing with Republicans. A Loudoun official, a guy by the name of Eugene Delgadio, Blurred Lines Fundraising. He's a very controversial chap with a lot of his views, but it's a front page story in the Washington Post. Was it even mentioned on WMAL this morning, even in their newscasts? I don't think so. And then another big story. Virginia GOP condemns photos of the president. A lot of nasty photos popping up on the website of a Richmond area GOP site there. Again, neither one of those stories was on. I didn't even hear it in the newscast on WMAL this morning. I guess it just didn't pass the gate. I don't know. The two major political stories, both on the front page of the whole Post, front page of the Metro section, and it was basically ignored by WMAL this morning. Certainly on the talk segment. At least, I don't listen to the whole show. I don't listen to Brian and Brian for a full 4 hours, but I listened for about half of it this morning, and I didn't hear either one of those mentioned. If it's going to be better station. They need to cover everything. Local, if it's a local political story that makes the front page of the Post, they need to cover it. I mean, it's another reason why WMAL is just not a very good station. Okay. Now that said, I'm looking at the radio ratings for the third week of September, but crazy as it is, third week of September is the first week of September. Don't ask me. Arbitron puts this holiday month in between December and January, so the ratings get skewed. So the third week of September is really like the last week of August and the first week of September. So it includes Labor Day weekend, which a lot of people aren't listening to the radio. They're out partying and gaffooing and whatever they do. But anyhow, if you look at the radio trends for that week, WAMU is actually first. TOP falls down to fourth place. But again, it's not when people are listening to news on the radio. NEW, 31st place in that third week, Labor Day weekend. But interesting looking at WMAL, a little uptick for them. They're up to 14th place. Wow. Usually they're at 15th, 17th, 16th place. So a little uptick for them. But again, it's Labor Day weekend. Not a lot of people are listen to the radio. It's just 1 week. It would be interesting to see what the September numbers totally show, and they will be coming out for the month of September next week, so we will be all over that one for sure, for sure, for sure. I got a little interesting write-up today on the main site of DCR TV about the Nationals and their TV rights agreement with the Major League Baseball. We got a status update on it. Some interesting stuff in there, I must say. And, is it going to happen that, obviously the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network can't afford the Nationals if they're going to want $120 million a year for their TV rights. So what do they do? They maybe allow the Nationals to purchase more of the network. The Nationals currently own 13% of Mass, and that could go up to 40%, we're hearing. Otherwise, I don't know. This thing could go to court, and we could see the Nationals on another channel. Eventually, that could happen. Maybe the Nationals go to maybe Fox Sports comes in and buys Masson and becomes Fox Sports Mid-Atlantic. Or maybe the Nationals flip over back to, eventually, flip back over to CSN, where they originally were, but in the first couple years there. I don't know. Or were they? No. I'm getting the Orioles. The Orioles used to be on. I'm getting confused now. The Orioles used to be on CSN, and then they moved to MASN. I think the Nats were always on MASN. I think so. Who knows? But whatever. Going to be interesting. Bottom line, going to be interesting to see where this whole rights thing plays out regarding the Nationals and MASN and how that, whether they can avoid the court, avoid the Noid court. All right, again, 15th anniversary for Dave. No, I've been doing this for 15th anniversary for DCRTV.com. Please help us out. Don't forget, we have a very special deal on DCRTV Plus where we got a ton of local radio and TV memories, jingles, photos, you name it. It's all up there. Histories of stations. We're working to revive it, to redo the whole thing, revamp it. So be a 15th anniversary, $15 a year. That's normally $29. So $15 a year for a year of DCRTV Plus. You can make that up to 3 years. And that deal will go away at the end of September, and it won't be back. I guarantee you I will never be offering a $15 or less rate for DCRTV, doing my Bill Clinton pointing thing. I did not have sex with that woman. All right. Live long and prosper.